The following is a paid program, and the views expressed do not necessarily represent the opinions of the management of this station or Hamel Broadcasting.
This is 1 in 31, a presentation from Anderson Center for Autism. 1 in 31 is a weekly show devoted to Autism Spectrum Disorder.
Good morning and welcome to 1 in 31, the weekly talk show on topics related to Autism Spectrum Disorder. I'm your host, Eliza Bozensky, Chief Development Officer at Anderson Center for Autism. And today I'm talking with two folks from an organization called Rock Autism. So it should be a really fun conversation. We're talking with Max Muscato and Alea Conte, both from Rock Autism. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us. This is great.
Mm-hmm. So we were connected because you were among the first of the organizations to apply for an Anderson Foundation for Autism grant back in 2024. And out of the number of proposals that were reviewed and received and reviewed, the foundation did choose to award you some funds for your programs. And so we wanted to invite you on the show to just learn more about what you do, make sure our listeners know what you're all about and where they can go for more information. So who wants to start? But I'm going to ask you both to introduce yourselves and talk a little bit about what you do. Where do we want to start?
I'm in the parking lot and people are making noise.
They're looking at you. Why don't we start with Alea, and you can get used to your parking lot situation, Max. Alea Conte, I know that you were very involved with writing the grant and presenting Rock Autism to us. So why don't we start with you? What is your background? Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you're connected to Rock Autism.
Yeah, I'm executive director of Rock Autism, and we started it in 2018. So we're going on I guess year 8 now, which is crazy. Almost year 8. And in the beginning, we started as a music festival, and then we grew into actually benefit concerts, and then all the money raised from those shows were going into our program. So we started this program for autistic youth age 14 to 26 because we know that there's very little out there for that age group, especially after 18, that the programs really drop off. So that was our main goal, was to get youth that are interested in music and film, hands-on education and skills building in camera operating, film editing, writing, and acting, everything across the board. And then on the music production side, we were doing GarageBand, because it's a free software that everyone has access to. If you have an Apple product or an iPad, iPhone, you can download GarageBand, you can use this, and it's the most basic recording software. So we thought of it as a great universal entry point for people to start finding their passions. And we found that parents over the years were very surprised at the complete 180 their child would come in. Day one, they would be a completely different person from the last day of programs with us. Everyone made friends in our programs, which was usually, for our students, it was they never had friends before. And then they came into this situation with all these little confidence boosters and knowing what they're doing and talking to other people and bonding with other people over their passions. So we grew this into now a performing arts program as well. And with part of your funding, we were actually able to get some programs for theater and lighting and sound engineering, things like that, where we can actually put them in these hands-on jobs where they can get skills building in the real world. And so now we are doing a whole nother year of that in partnership with Alleyway Theater here in Buffalo, New York. And we're really excited about that.
That's fabulous. Thank you for the rundown. You're definitely the executive director. You got your your speech down really well, but it's very helpful to everybody listening, and even for me, because I got a chance to read your proposal for the funding. And I remember one of the things that really stood out to, I don't vote, but that stood out to the committee that did make the decisions, was the hands-on aspect, and also sort of the full spectrum, or maybe not completely full, but more than many. The idea that it wasn't just specific to music or film. It was like everything. And then you really wanted to introduce people to all the different aspects of being part of that world. And then the social component was also obviously very important. So really well done. It sounds amazing. I'm glad to hear it's going so well. Max, I'm going to throw it to you and whoever's listening in or watching you in the parking lot. Max Muscato, tell us, your background. I know you have a personal connection, a very strong personal connection to Rock Autism, and maybe you want to tell us about what you do there and some of some information about yourself.
Yeah, sure. Honestly, I've always just been the guy that's been at the wrong place at the wrong time and turned something out of nothing into something beautiful. So all of this started because of what happened with my brother. So let me just first and foremost say I never wanted to be involved in the nonprofit world, never wanted to do anything like this in this world because of what happened to my brother with other organizations, constantly getting screwed, overlooked, lost, and fell through the cracks. And I was incredibly resentful my entire life about what happened to my brother. So long story short, my brother was in assisted living facilities and in the system up until he was 18 from, I think, 8 years old. And he had a bad time, physical and mental abuse was running rampant at that time. Autism really wasn't well known. People didn't have the right training or skill set to actually handle somebody like my brother. So after 18, like Alea said, all the organizations say good luck. So when my brother moved home with my father, he's very impressionable. He's very high functioning, but then, he has his moments, and he became friends with the wrong kind of people, drug dealers, gang members, criminals. So my dad, I think it was sophomore year, he said, can you come home and help? And I did. So I transferred home, and my brother was just going down this vortex of bad choice after bad choice. Eventually, he became an addict through these drug dealers, and he was peddling these drugs too. He kind of used as a drug mule. Then he got shot by a drunk cop trying to defend a drug dealer. It was this crazy ordeal. And we thought that was going to be the massive wake-up call, but it wasn't. He continued to do it after he got healed, and then he was thrown in jail for 8 months. He took the fall for this big thing that they did. And I just got really tired of this. So it was 2017, July 1st, my brother was in jail, and it was actually my album release show. So we're all musicians. My brother's the drummer, I'm the guitarist, and my dad is actually our drummer as well. So they would split the set when we play. But when he was in jail, I was so mad. I said, why don't we do some type of fundraiser for autism? I mean, it's the least we can do to kind of get something going. So we did, and we raised way more than we thought. So when we were deciding on what to do with it, we ultimately said, we don't know where this money's going to go for whoever we're going to give it to, but we have this idea about music and film production. My brother has always been into music production and film production, and it's insane the things that he can remember when it comes to film and music. So we put it to the test, and Alea actually found me as a struggling musician like 2 years before, saying, I want to help manage you. And when I presented her with this idea, it just kind of like the synergy, everything aligned. And we formed our organization that year. And then we did so many events leading up to our music festival. Then we were able to fund our beta program of the Rock Autism Multimedia Vocational Program. And that allowed them to learn the basic fundamentals of music production and film production. But I didn't want to do that. I wanted to get actually hands-on. I wanted them to work our benefit concerts, learn about lighting and stage, and be a crew member, learn, and then work on film sets as well. My family, we're all in the film world in some form. So I've probably worked on 10 major productions in my life on major films. And my brother always loved it too. So we wanted to do that as well. And when I started to ask production companies, we got so much pushback. I got fed up with it, and I said, fine, we'll do this ourselves too. I don't care. So I've been working on a feature film for like 5 years. And when COVID happened, we pivoted, and I turned it into just a scripted pilot episode for a TV show. So then we employed our kids on that set, and they did everything. They did from craft services to the food, all the way to actually assisting in directing and helping me write some of the script. It was awesome. And it was one of the best experiences of my life. So now, 8 years later, we've been able to take that to the next level where we employ them on our music videos, benefit concerts, our theater production, and this feature film that we're working on. It looks like it's going to see the light of day relatively soon. And in addition to all that, my brother and I, we get to tour now as musicians, and we tell our story to everybody. And I was able to, it's kind of like Pink Floyd's The Wall, where you're getting a show and a story at the same time. In between each song, I say where we are in the story, what this song means. And at the end of it, everybody, the overall response has just been, I love it. This is phenomenal that you were able to turn such a terrible situation into helping others and inspiring others. And again, like this was never my plan. I was just kind of rolling with the punches, and Alea's just been, cheering me on the whole time. And like, the depression is hardcore with musicians. We have our ebbs and flows, and it runs rampant with people with disabilities too. So we were able to kind of connect all of this into pushing it out to people. So whenever we tour, we tell the story, we actively raise funds, we donate a portion back to certain communities that partner with us. And it's just honestly been one ride that I'm really grateful and happy to be on.
Amazing. I mean, you turned such sort of sadness and anger and just darkness, it sounds like, into something so positive. And I love what you said before, that when you sort of met Alea and like the planets aligned, things just started to come together. I find on this podcast, one of the reasons I love doing it is that I get to talk to so many different people who are involved in the autism community in like so many different creative, unique ways. I've talked to a lot of authors and researchers and scientists and parents and family members and autistic people who are, self-advocates or sharing their experiences, and the breadth of different ways that people are choosing to make impact always astounds me. But what runs through loud and clear with pretty much everyone I talk to is the most successful people and the happiest people who are doing what they're doing are ones kind of like you, who did not start out saying this is what I want to do, because that means that you're using your own personal experience, and people feel that. And I think that's usually what draws people to you, is the idea that you're not doing this for some other reason that isn't connected to you. It's very connected, and you're willing to share that, which is amazing. So thank you on behalf of so many people who I know are hopefully listening and loving this and obviously benefiting from it. We're going to take a short break, but when we come back, so you've given us so much. When we come back, I'd love to just dive into some of the more nitty gritty about what happens in the program and how people can get involved and learn more, and what your plans are for the future. Okay, so Alea Conte and Max Muscato from Rock Autism will be right back. This is 1 in 31, the weekly talk show on topics related to autism spectrum disorder, and hang tight, we'll be right back.
I'm Angela Bassett. As a first responder on screen, I know what it means to act fast in an emergency. In real life, the same urgency can save lives, especially when it comes to food allergy. For 33 million Americans, one bite can cause a life-threatening reaction. Now, there's a needle-free option, a new way to carry epinephrine. Know the risk, know the options. Be ready to act. Learn more at foodallergy.org/ready-to-act.
Today alone, 5,370 people in the United States will be diagnosed with cancer. That's why Stand Up to Cancer funds and develops the newest and most promising cancer treatments. Stand Up to Cancer wants to provide you with every opportunity to join in this mission. By donating your home, land, or commercial property, you can help Stand Up to Cancer fund innovative cancer research. Stand Up to Cancer makes the process easy, and it may be tax deductible. Visit standuptocancer.org/giveproperty to learn more.
And now 1 in 31 continues on 100.7 WHUD. This is a weekly community affairs presentation from the Anderson Center for Autism.
Welcome back to 1 in 31, the weekly talk show on topics related to autism spectrum disorder. I'm your host, Eliza Bozensky, and I'm talking today with Alea Conte and Max Muscato from Rock Autism. We learned about Rock Autism by way of a grant proposal that they sent in to the foundation last year in 2024, and our grants committee chose to fund it. And really cool listening to even more beyond what was written in the proposal, which was great, about what you do and really importantly why you do it. So you both kind of gave us in the beginning part of the show a background on yourselves, why you've gotten involved, and where you are today with things. Let's get into, like, somebody's listening and saying, I need to be a part of this. I want to be a student. I want to get my kid involved. I want to volunteer. I want to donate. Like, let's first I can start with your website. It's rockautism.org, right? That's where you can find virtually every piece of information, to
Yes.
follow up on, right? That's the basics.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so rockautism.org. We'll make sure that goes out when we post the show, when we share it. But how do most people? Well, let me back up. When you first started to move from the initial music festival and concert into offering these really vocational programs, what has the public response been?
Well, it's sort of hard here. In Buffalo, like there are so many nonprofits that like everyone loves what you're doing, but like everyone's also sort of pushing elbows for money. And like we are so small and still so new compared to other established like foundations that have always been like the support of the community. So in the beginning, it was like we just fundraise, and we just heard no from a lot of people. And we were kind of astounded because we were like, oh, these are some connections I've had for years or Max has had for years. And they just go, I already give to XYZ. I can't give to you. And then we go, okay. And then we were just like, this incredible idea that we thought was so amazing was just going to be really tough to get off the ground at first. And that was when we were just like, we'll do it ourselves. So like we fundraised like mad. And then we turned it into the program, which was when people came and saw it, they were like, oh my God, I get this. Like, when we had like funders come and visit our site, then they would go, oh my gosh, no one's doing this. Like this needs to be done. So that's how we retained once we got our funders that really believed in us, we retained them because they saw everything that we did with our kids, how hands-on we were with them, how we kept our attention on them. We kept the classes a little smaller so that like we could support everybody in the proper way. And they were just blown away because we had everyone from varying abilities to like nonverbal people all the way up to higher functioning people with Asperger's, ADHD, using cameras, like helping one another, like supporting each other, like showing them how lighting operation works. Like everyone got the opportunity to do that. And the parents and the funders were blown away. And then the parents also became our source of support too, with like, let me know what you need. I will volunteer. I will get funds. Like, so that's how it grew.
Yeah, that sounds like a very, I fundraise for Anderson. So I know what that's like, and I think you made the right choice of trying to focus on getting people in the doors and seeing for themselves. Sometimes the Hudson Valley, which is where Anderson is located, is also a very nonprofit heavy environment, and it's very typical where people usually choose maybe their top 3 charities to give to. So getting in there can be really tough, but showing somebody what you're actually doing and the impact that you're having makes all the difference. So it sounds like it was a positive response, but maybe it took a little while for people to really understand the impact that Rock Autism is having, which that's interesting. And I'm glad that you're seeing success now. What about the level of interest from people who just want to participate, family members? Because I hear all the time that family members are always looking for opportunities for their children to be in a loving, welcoming, safe space, but also something meaningful that's not just, a safe space to sit around and not learn anything. So you're sort of combining that. Have you found that families are really eager to get their children involved?
Oh, yes, they are. And we've also opened it up to not just people with autism, like autism diagnoses. It's also like anyone really. Like we have some with Down syndrome that come to our program now. And since they've gotten into the mix, it's had this really positive effect of like, the 2 personalities sort of combining, and like, because Down syndrome people are so outgoing, so loving, they want to be in front of that camera, they're big personalities. And then usually people on the spectrum are more reserved. So like now we have this whole flavor of the 2 of them really vibing with one another and being able to like fit in these different roles on our sets, like in front of the camera, behind the camera. But yeah, like those families also are like, oh my God, where can I sign up and where can I help you? So it's really incredible.
That's great. That's great. And I want to remind everybody, go to rockautism.org for more information. I think you can watch videos. You can hear Max's story and his brother Sonny's story. It's really well written and both heart wrenching and also really impactful, very touching in terms of where this all began. On there. So Max, I want to throw it to you. We only have about 5 minutes left. Since you didn't expect to be here in this spot and you didn't expect to be doing this, now that you are and you're seeing the success and the impact that it's having on so many people, what do you have in terms of just hopes for the future? What do you see in the future of this program, and maybe even people who've gone through the program and are now in the professional work environment? What are you hoping that they're taking away long term, or that the people who work there and they're teaching take away long term? Just big picture.
Yeah, big picture with the company itself, I want to transform it, which we ultimately are right now, into a big production company where we have autonomy and we control our film productions, our benefit concerts, but on a grander scale. We have flagship locations in Nashville, LA, New York City, and Austin. So we're growing, and now is about like something good is going to happen in the next year or two. I feel it. So as far as that's our goal, and to be doing bigger projects and employ anybody we want with no restrictions and have a very inclusive environment, and also a zero tolerance policy. I've had it up to here with the amount of people that have said, I'm not really feeling this. I don't want those kind of people on my set. And I'm like, no. I actually fired somebody immediately when they said that to me, and it was a very well-established filmmaker. I was like, I don't care. I don't want that type of personality and environment in this environment. So that's number one. Number two, for our students, to just grow and realize like you can achieve your dreams. You really can. It's a little different path for everybody. So don't compare yourself when you're looking at other people. If you're the same age and they're a filmmaker and you're not, just keep doing your thing, because there is no right way to do any of this, especially in the entertainment industry. And collaboration is key when it comes to the film industry. That's one of my favorite things about our students. We've seen true friendships blossom out of this when they used to just be isolated in their room constantly. There are these three girls in our program, and I love all three of these girls, and they get together all the time now, and they film and they write scripts, they make projects. So I'm so happy to see that. I truly am. And then from our teachers and the people that come and volunteer, don't judge a book by its cover.
Yeah, well said. Absolutely. And I love your zero tolerance policy. I know it can be hard in the business world to sort of have that kind of, this is my clear boundary and you can't cross it. But the type of advocacy that you're providing for a vulnerable population is that's amazing for you to be able to put that out there, and hopefully something that others will consider following. Any final words, Alea, on anything that you call to action, things you would like people to do beyond going to your website and learning more and maybe getting involved? Is there anything coming up that you want to promote?
Let's see. Well, right now, we just ended a tour. So I think right now it really would be, check out the website, check us on Instagram at Rock Autism. And and if you have any questions or if you want to get involved, if you DM us on Instagram, I can give you my email.
Great. Love it when people are easy to reach. That's great. And also, I know you're in Buffalo, or that's your flagship, your main location in Buffalo, New York. If somebody wanted to just do what you invited your donors to do and come for a tour, see what's going on there, can they contact you? And is it relatively easy to get a chance to come see, for themselves what you're doing?
This year, we actually operate out of Alleyway Theater. So, if they email me and they would want to come and shadow a day to see it, definitely you could come. I would just have to check with the theater.
Of course. It's not a walk-in situation. So you can easily get in touch with Alea by going to Instagram and sending her a DM. And again, going to Facebook, rockautism.org. There's lots of information there. Mm-hmm. I just want to thank you guys on behalf of really everyone I know. What you're doing. It sounds amazing. It's really creative. like I said earlier, when you take something that you're passionate about and you love and you find a way to make it accessible and inclusive to more people, often who are otherwise, left out or isolated, you're doing such amazing work and making an impact. And so really thank you for what you're doing. And thanks for being on the show today to talk to us about it in more detail.
Yeah, thanks for having us. This was great.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, it's my pleasure. So Alea Conte and Max Muscato from Rock Autism, thank you so much for being here today. This is 1 in 31, the weekly talk show on topics related to autism spectrum disorder. I'm your host, Eliza Bozensky, and remember, Anderson cares.
You've been listening to 1 in 31, a weekly presentation from Anderson Center for Autism. Join them for another edition of the show next weekend.